Hi, my name is Guy Retallick. I run the Bridge House Theatre, and the Bridge House Theatre has been here in existence since 2013, when my wife and I, Rachel Tucker, who's a musical theatre actress, and myself, I'm a theatre director, we have moved into the area about 2011, and we decided that there were no theatres around here. And that we would like to open one. So we cast about, and we went into all the different pubs and all the different spaces all around Penge, and this is probably one of the last places we came in. And we came in and sat down and had a drink downstairs, and the owner, Scott Blenkhorn, and his partner Simon Kelly came over, and we kind of struck up a conversation, and they sat down and had a drink with us, and it was very, I don't know quite why we ended up talking to each other, but Scott, who's the owner, is certainly very gregarious, and we chatted and we instantly hit it off. And during the course of this conversation, I said, I think rather casually, what about opening we thought about we want to have a theatre, and he went, theatre? Maybe you should come upstairs. Come and have a look upstairs. So he took me upstairs, and there we were in this function room, this 17 by 25 foot room. Although at that stage it didn't look like that at all in here, which is a testament to Scott and his vision and excitement about the idea of having someone come and run the theatre here. Because at that stage, this was 3 rooms. There was a number of false walls in here. There was a little kind of entrance lobby, and we spent some sort of time. So this room was actually sort of, I don't know, 15 foot by 17 foot, and we thought, oh yes, this is possible. And then we came back again, I think, the following week, and my wife and I walked around it and said, what about if we knock the walls down? And made it into a little sort of proscenium arch, which I then suggested to Scott, and much to my surprise, he said, yeah, I'll knock the walls down. And he did go away and knock the walls down, and we made a proscenium arch in here. So that was at one end of the room, and we were thinking we were going to have a bank of seating. In fact, this never happened, because the next thing that I was standing in here doing a little bit of rehearsal, and I stood at one diagonal end of the room, and my wife stood at the other end, and we ran a speech, and we went, this is how the room's meant to work, so let's get rid of the proscenium. So we then had to go back to Scott and say, could you also knock the last wall down? And that's how the room then ended up being, I think probably its natural size. And since then, we have had regularly, I suppose, audiences of, at one stage, when we were doing Macbeth, we were up to 70. So that was a rather exciting performance. After we were here for approximately about 1 year, I think Rachel and I both discovered that we really needed somebody else to help us set up and run this theatre. Plus, we had an additional challenge, which was that we were going to go to America for approximately 2 years. So we really wanted somebody who was going to keep this place turning over in the most creative and inventive way possible. And since 2011, I'd made 4 productions with a producer called Rob Harris. And he seemed the ideal candidate to come and run the venue. We've done everything in here so far. We've done, the most regular thing is the Christmas show, which is really what I suppose has kept us sort of going through the years. So I think that the experience that audiences get here is, as they say, up close and personal. You really feel like you're a part of the action, and that the last show that we did, which we did Miracle on 34th Street, and this year was the largest advance that we've ever had for any show. So it was sold out pretty much well in advance of the show opening, which is a considerable sort of testament to how well we've done. We've really kind of built up our local audience. I want people to come to the theatre. I want people trust it, so that they know that they're really going to get the best acting and as good as acting as they'll see, hopefully they can see anywhere. I mean, we've had George Maguire, who's an Olivier-nominated, award-winning actor, was here 2 years ago in a Christmas show. And my wife, of course, who's appeared here many times, Rachel Tucker, who's a Broadway and West End leading lady. She's done a number of cabarets here, including a fantastic show with her band in the garden. I mean, that was a very unusual gig that we did to raise money for the theatre, and it was fantastic. It was absolutely packed, and it was pouring with rain, but it was a huge, huge success. But so yes, we've had Jessie Buckley, who did an amazing cabaret here, Wendy Peters. We've had a number of very successful individuals do cabarets here. It's a great cabaret venue. But I think that the real aim is to try and get a much more regular programme of work other than the Christmas show, and the comedies go throughout the year. We've also done a number of films here. We have a film screen that comes down. We've hosted a number of performances and been quite a big part of the Penge Festival for the last 3 years, I think, 3 or 4 years. And we've certainly had a wide variety of very successful, I think, events, including, I think, last year we did an extraordinary sort of dance workshop led by Paul Harris, who is really kind of very well known for doing all the choreography on the Harry Potter films. And he's also happens to, I mean, that Penge is famous for its ballroom dancing connections. And he came and did a sort of dancing masterclass, ballroom dancing masterclass with about 50 people in here. And that was sort of an extraordinary event to be a part of. The next stage is to find out whether our audience will come for work that they don't necessarily recognise as obviously. Will they come into the space to have that new experience? And that's what we'd like to be able to do here. What I'd really like to be able to do is get funding from the Arts Council to allow us to do a modest amount of regular work here. That's what the aim is. It should do, because although it's a bijou, it's a tiny space, it's an absolutely ideal space for creating up-close and personal stories. We would welcome any support from the people of Penge and Crystal Palace and all around, because there's been such a long history of theatre in this area. It had one of the largest outside of London musical theatres, which was the Penge Empire. And we think we're just a minor historical blip, that we are the Penge Empire, but in a reincarnated modern 21st century theatre form. We really believe that this is a creative hub, and that we've produced some of the best work that you can see anywhere in London. It's just we need more people to come, and we need to bang our drum louder, and we'd love you, the audiences, to come, because it's so easy and it's so accessible. There's so much, we believe we've got so much to offer here, and you can have an amazing experience by coming to the pub, having a wonderful drink, having a great meal, seeing a great show, and you can just pop home on the Penge West Station, which is 30 seconds up the road. And with the new overground line, I think that has revolutionised the fact that people really have been able to get here. I think that the combination, that certainly when we've had people come out here, that the complete experience that people have managed to have when they come here, and especially if they've never been here before, and they get to see a great show, and then they go downstairs and have a fantastic meal, and they really wonder why they ever bother going into town anymore, because it's all here on their doorstep. The theatre is available for hire, and we do hire it out to various companies, individuals, for rehearsal purposes, and it's there should anybody wish to come and ask us about it. We'd be very happy to have you up here. If you want any further information about the work that's going on here, look at bhtheatre.com. That's www.bhtheatre.com, which is the theatre's website.